Well, sometimes we hear these little parable stories, these images our blessed Lord used to teach, beautiful ones. If we continued that gospel, he'd talk about how the little mustard seed is so small, but it grows into a beautiful shrub. The birds of the air can build their nest. He talks about the woman who takes a little yeast and puts it in the dough to make the pizza frite. And he says it's, a little bit of yeast can change things. The whole message is you give God a little bit to work with, a little prayer, a little effort, a little heart. God can do a lot, even with a little. But these parables aren't just cute stories. They pack a punch. Some of them deal with some of the most important things: heaven and hell, life and death, sin and grace. And this one about the man who sowed the seed, but the enemy came and put the weeds among it. And he says there will be a harvest time. It'll all be sorted out. It reminds you and I, more than once in the words of Jesus in the gospel, he talks about that harvest, that time of a judgment. We don't like to hear that. Sometimes we think we're going to skip it. We're going to get out of it, but there's going to be a judgment hour for you and I. It will be very personal, or it might be for the whole world at once. We don't know. But there's no doubt judgment is a part of the life of faith for the person who believes. Judgment Day. I heard about another church someplace. They had one of these Bible study groups, bunch of people, and the guy that ran the group, he told the people, he said, listen, if you had 4 weeks left and you would be judged in front of Jesus, if you had 4 weeks left to live, what would you do? And one man said, I would volunteer at the hospital, the soup kitchen. I would really help out like I never did. Another woman said, I'll give everything, sell it, give it to the poor and the needy. Another guy said, I will go on a great pilgrimage. I will pray my heart out if I had 4 weeks left before the judgment. And the other guy over there, he said, well, what I would do if I had 4 weeks, I'd invite my mother-in-law to move in, because when she's around, time stops. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like forever when she's around. Okay, so there's 2 things in this main story Jesus gives us. The sower, he sowed the good seed, the enemy came, put the weeds. The first point is that in the end, there will be a judgment day, a kind of sorting out of things, the good from the bad. Don't think there isn't. And the second thing is, like the weeds are with the wheat, you often find the good with the bad, sin and grace, light and dark, blessings and a curse. They're often together, aren't they? Mark Twain, the great American writer, said, there's a little bit of good in the worst of us. There's a little bit of bad in the best of us. In us personally, there is this mixture so often, the good wheat and the harmful weed. Now, you might say, well, that's interesting. It's probably true. And then you might say, well, why is there evil? I talked to a man a couple years ago. He said, I'm a professed atheist. I don't believe in God. I said, why? He said, the main reason, if God is all good, how can there be evil in the world? Look at the news. Look into our own heart. If God is all good, why do bad things happen to good people? Why is there evil? Well, first of all, when it comes to nature, this old world, it's kind of like our physical bodies. I mean, there's floods and fires and earthquakes and everything else. People perish, great disasters, because the world is fragile. It's vulnerable. It isn't that God intends that. It's like our bodies. St. Paul said, our bodies are fragile. They're vulnerable. You can be a great person and still come down with an illness, a disease, an accident. That's one thing. But mostly what this is talking about is, why is there evil that comes from us? Because we have freedom to choose. We can choose to be harmful or helpful. We can choose to be happy or miserable. We can choose to be honest or sinful. I mean, much of the evil is generated from the human heart. And we have the freedom to choose, don't we? And that's part of the message of the gospel. In us, there is a mixture of the good and the bad, the wheat and the weeds. It's always been like that, and it always will be like that. The struggle for the person of faith is day by day to try and play up the good wheat and play down the harmful weeds. That struggle never ends till our last breath. But there is a time of harvest. And sometimes, not that God intends it, but sometimes that challenge, that tough thing, that bad stuff that happens can make for a stronger person, even a better person. St. Paul, writing his letters, 3 times he says, I suffer, I have a thorn in my side. Well, we don't know what that was. Was it emotional, St. Paul? What do you have, arthritis? We don't know, we're not sure. But more than once, Paul says, I'm always dealing with this thorn in my side. But Paul became the greatest preacher of Jesus. I'm thinking of 2 other people that had in the story of their life some weeds growing, some challenge, some tough thing, but it made them a better person. I'm thinking of Franklin Roosevelt, president, right? Many of you. I was born during Eisenhower. All right, Truman. All right, Truman. But Franklin Roosevelt, a magical name, the Roosevelt family, tons of money, good-looking, athletic guy, loved politics, wanted to become president for the glory of his family, then struck with polio. Talk about the thorn in the side, the bad stuff, the evil, the disease of polio. Well, you know how it did. It made him a compassionate, caring person. He could identify with suffering, which he never did before. He had it made. But after that, he kind of became a much stronger, good person. Thank you, Franklin Roosevelt, for Social Security, getting through the Depression, World War II, and other things. It made him stronger. And I'm thinking of the most popular saint of the 20th century, Mother Teresa of Calcutta, of India, the little nun. Well, everybody thinks she had easy street. You know, Jesus talked to her every day or something. No way. At the end of her life, they found her diary. She said, most of the time, I'm in doubt. She goes, I've trusted if the Lord is really with me. She goes, I don't know if I'm doing anything good. If I help 100 people on the street at night, there's 200 the next day. She goes, I don't know if I'm going backwards or forwards. I'm filled with doubt. It was a thorn in her side. It was a tough thing, but it made her a beautiful saint in the end. It strengthened her work for God. So these things that come our way, these weeds that are mixed up in our life, if we play them right, don't let them bring us down, but build above them, we become a better person. There isn't a person here under this roof, probably, that doesn't have one or more weeds in their wheat. Problems, health, family, life, love, guilt, sin, who knows what it is. There's probably nobody that doesn't have something to deal with that is difficult. You might even say it's evil. It's bad stuff. But if we build above it and beyond it, walk through it, might make us a better person. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.